And we have to redo this para, for these are our evolutionary figures. Okay?
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright. So,
in which chapter?
Pardon?
In my page.
The evolutionary process. 1 minute, Ranga. The evolutionary process, ascent and integration.
Okay.
The end of the chapter.
Yeah. Oh, we are nearing the end of the chapter.
What's the end? What's the end, Ranga? I saw there are 3-4 more pages.
Achha. Yes.
It's a long chapter. There are 3-4 more pages.
Okay. Yeah. 753. So 749. Just 1 second. Yeah. So, since we have not had a class for quite some time, we will just briefly say what he has been saying. He has been showing you the chapter is the evolution. So, it starts at the inconscient and slowly it is rising one by one, and he is giving us the steps of the evolution. So first there is the inconscient, then there is the rising of life, and then there is the rising of mind. But in the mind plane, there are 3 levels. That's what he has told us. There is the physical mind, then there is the vital mind, and then there is finally the pure mind. So these are the 3 degrees of the mind formation. Okay? This is what we said in the previous one. So quickly, I will read the summary of the previous chapter, and then we will go on to the para that we have to do today. Just as a vital, I am reading the summary. Just as the vital mind is supported subliminally by the inner vital or the prana purusha, similarly, the pure mind or intelligence in the body-mind life is backed in the intraconscient by the mental purusha. In other words, our mind is supported in the intraconscient behind by a mental purusha. The consciousness at the mental level. The mental man can live with the inner mind as a normal man lives in the body, and all the elements of the universal mind plane are more real to him than objects in the vital and physical worlds. So Swami is saying, just as we live in the physical world, we can also place our consciousness in the mental world. And there, those mental ideas and thoughts and forces are more real to us than the physical world. These intangibles and imponderables, unreal to the normal man, are very real to him, and he tries to realize these ideas and ideals. The mental man is the most developed being in the terrestrial nature, barring the spiritual man. In immediate circumstances of the present, the vital man with his dynamism is sometimes more successful than the mental man, who is less dynamic. But ultimately, the force and extent of the mental man is far superior because he builds in himself power in many fields. He becomes a thinker, the sage, the high intellectual. Sranga is actually telling you that the higher you go, the more power you have. But then you may ask the question, but we see some people who are very dynamic, they are not very intelligent, but they succeed so much. So how come? Good morning, Jishnu.
Good morning, Ranga.
Yeah. So how come that you are saying there is a progress? The Sranga is saying, temporarily, the vital man is sometimes more successful than the mental man. But ultimately, the mental man will be more powerful. That's what it is. So, now, these 3 degrees of the mental range, there are 3 degrees. Physical mind, vital mind, and pure mind. Though clear and well defined, they appear to the outer nature to be mixed and not separated, and their identities do not seem to be very important. When we look at ourselves, we can't distinguish physical mind, vital mind, and pure mind. We can't distinguish. But if you go into the intraconscient or you go up, very clearly you will see distinctly these 3 levels. Okay? That's what he's saying. On the contrary, they are the most significant. They are most significant because they indicate clearly the 3 steps of the evolutionary ascent from the lower grades to the higher grades. Normally we speak only of matter, life and mind. But there are sub-grades, subdivisions. And those subdivisions are exactly this. Physical mind, vital mind, pure mind. And they are very important because they show the gradation of the evolution in man. So, on the contrary, they are most significant because they indicate precisely the 3 steps of the evolutionary ascent from the lower grades to the higher. This status of the pure mind is the highest in the lower hemisphere. Level 1, lower hemisphere, level 1, matter, life and mind. So at that level, pure mind is the highest. If man has to go even higher than that, then spiritual development has to take place. That's what he said in the previous one. Now we read today's, and since you have to redo, I will read each sentence and we'll discuss it. For these are her evolutionary figures built out of the surface mentality. So, these means physical mind, vital mind and pure mind are an evolutionary figure built out of the surface mentality. Surface mentality, the lowest one, our outer nature. To do more, she has to use more amply the unseen material hidden below our surface, to dive inwards and bring out the secret soul, the psyche, or to ascend above our normal mental level into planes of intuitive consciousness, dense with light, derived from the spiritual gnosis, ascending planes of pure spiritual mind, in which we are in direct contact with the infinite, in touch with the self and highest reality of things, Satchidananda. So, if you want to go even beyond the pure mind, you have to dive inwards or go upwards. That's what he said. When you dive inwards, first of all you will meet the intraconscious, and then you will also meet the psychic being if you go inwards. And if you go ascend above our normal mental level, then you will go into the spiritual planes of consciousness. He is mentioning intuitive consciousness, dense with light. Our daylight is light, but Sridhar is talking of a dense light. Very often, when people who are near-death experience, when they go out of their body, they are met first with a blazing light. Okay? Like you remember in the Gita, it says, like 1,000 suns, as though 1,000 suns had come. So Sridhar is meaning dense light means exactly like that. Very, very intense light. It blinds you. So you have to not use your physical eyes, but you have to use your subtle eyes. If you go there, then what happens? He is telling you, you are in touch with the self and the highest reality of things. We are in touch. We are not realizing. But you realize that Satchidananda is the highest level. Then, in ourselves, behind our surface, natural being is clear, no? Natural being means your outer body, mind, life, what we normally are. And we think that this is what I am. Although that's true, because we don't know our soul. In ourselves, behind our surface natural being, there is a soul, an inner mind, an inner life path, which can open to these heights as well as to the occult spirit within us. And this double opening is the secret of a new evolution. So what is this double opening? First of all, the soul, the inner mind and inner life part. So this is the inner mind and the inner life part are in the intraconscious. You have to go into yourself. At a horizontal level, you go in. It's a way of speaking. Horizontal and vertical are only ways of speaking. Because you get that feeling that I am above and I am inside. So, these are supporting you. And if you go into the intraconscious, then the secret of a new evolution is possible for you. That's what Sandra said. By that breaking of lids and walls and boundaries. That's interesting, huh? So, he has spoken very often of the lids and walls and the boundaries. The boundaries, the ego creates boundaries. Okay? And the lid over the mind is created by our constant, non-ceasing thoughts. So when the thoughts cease, then the lid breaks. The lid is the movement of the mind and the walls behind the heart. You remember the famous, I love that quote from Sri Aurobindo, birthday message to Satyendra. Okay? A lid behind the, a veil behind the heart, a lid over the mind, divide us from the divine. Love and devotion rend the veil. In the silence of the mind, the lid thins and vanishes. So, that he is repeating the same thing here. Then, the veil behind the heart is the desires, attachments and ego. And if you remove those, the veil disappears and you can contact your psychic being much more easily. So in other words, if you are desireless and you have no attachments, chances of your discovery of the psychic being is very, very, very possible. Similarly, if you stop thinking, you will rise to the self. So this is the truth. The double opening. By that breaking of lids and walls and boundaries, the consciousness rises to a greater ascent and a larger integration, which, as the evolution of mind is mentalized, so will, by this new evolution, spiritualize all the powers of our nature. So when you go into the mental consciousness, at our level, at our normal level, you become much more integral. Your way of looking at things is far superior to that of a vital man. Similarly, when you go to the spiritual planes of consciousness, you have spiritualized your nature. That's what Sandra is saying. Spiritualize all the powers of our nature. Which are the powers of our nature? The body is the power, the vital also is the power, and the mind also is the power. They become spiritualized. Not limited to the physical world only. For the mental man has not been nature's last effort or highest reach. Though he has been in general more fully evolved in his own nature than those who have achieved themselves below or aspired above him. So, Chandra is saying even those who are vital people, they often succeed in life in what they want to do. Okay? But now we have to go even beyond that. The mental man is not the last. So similarly, the spiritual man will go beyond the mental man. Just as the mental man has gone beyond the vital man. That's what Sandra is saying. For the mental man has not been nature's last effort or highest reach. Though he has been in general more fully evolved in his own nature than those who have achieved themselves below or aspired above. She has appointed man. She is nature. She has appointed man to a yet higher and more difficult level, inspired him with the ideal of a spiritual living, begun the evolution in him of a spiritual being. If you go beyond the mind, the spiritual man is her supreme supernormal effort of human creation. For having evolved the mental creator, thinker, sage, prophet of an ideal, the self-controlled, self-disciplined, harmonized mental being, she has tried to go higher and deeper within and call out into the front the soul and the inner mind and heart. Call down from above the forces of the spiritual mind and higher mind and overmind, and create under their light and by their influence the spiritual sage, seer, prophet, God-lover, yogi, Gnostic, Sufi, mystic. Chandra is pouring it on you. Okay, so first of all, the mental man, he has told you, 7, 8 lines above that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines above that from the bottom. You say the mental man is a creator. He is a thinker. He is a sage. He is a prophet of an ideal. Okay? You take up an ideal and challenge and propagate it. Okay? Promulgate it. The self-control, self-discipline, harmonized mental being. This is the mental man. But now the spiritual man, in comparison, the spiritual sage, seer. Seer means one who can see subtle things. Prophet, who can tell the future. The God lover, yogin, Gnostic, Sufi, mystic. It's interesting that he included Sufi, by the way. Sufi is a branch of Islam. Sufism is a branch of Islam, but very, very similar to Vedantic ideas. So that's what he is saying. So we go to the next one. This is man's only way of...
Dada?
Yes, tell me.
Dada, can you please explain it again that in ourselves, behind our surface natural being, there is a soul, an inner mind, an inner life part, which can open to these heights as well as to the occult spirit within us. And
Yes.
this double opening is the secret of a new evolution. Can you
Yes.
please explain it again, Dada?
No, so what's your question? You don't understand
I
this?
just, yes, I don't understand. Yes. Please explain it again.
Okay. As I told you, if you keep in mind my image, okay, of what a man is. Suppose you want to understand what a man is, then you think of yourself as a house. Okay? Then it will become clear to you. Okay? So you have a house. Okay? And you have a house, and the house is, let us say, 2-storied or 3-storied house. Okay? So in the basement, okay, you know what a basement is, no? The cellar. Okay? We have basement nowadays in all our ashram houses. One below the normal level. That is what is called the subconscious. Okay? That's the subconscious. Below the normal level. And the foundation is the inconscient. Okay? And you are sitting in the front room, and the doors and windows are the senses. Through these senses, eyes, ears, nose, okay, you are being able to see the world outside through these doors and windows. And how much of the world are you seeing? Very little. Whatever is there in the outside street, that's all you are seeing. You think that you know a lot, but you know nothing at all of the world. Then, the first floor is the mental. Okay? You can say it's a higher mind. And when you go to the terrace, you can see much more than what you can see in the ground floor. So that's so much more knowledge you have. All around you can see, you know, now this church is there, this bus station is there, you can see much more. Your understanding of the world increases like anything when you go to the higher mind level. And if you go even higher up, intuition mind, all these are the floors. Okay? One by one the higher floors. And the super mind is at the 7th floor. Okay? And even if you don't have these higher mind, you can always build these floors. You have the right to build these floors. Okay? So, what is meant by building these floors? Rise to a higher level of consciousness. Now, the intraconscious is inside you have to go, not up or down. If you go down, subconscious. If you go up, the spiritual planes of consciousness. Okay? And you can go right up to the 7th floor, the supramental. Nobody has done that as yet permanently, but it can be done very same. Now, you go inside your house, inside. Not in the front room, but inside. And when you go inside, normally, in every 60-40 plot, okay, there is a kitchen garden at the back. Huh? And what is the speciality of the kitchen garden? It's open to the sky. And open to the sky means your consciousness gets in touch with the universe. Okay? That's the intraconscious. Sima, are you following?
Yes, Dada. Yes, Dada.
So the
I'm
intraconscious is when you go into yourself, you are not limited by a ceiling. You can see you are in touch with this universe. That is the inner mind, inner vital and the inner physical. And if you go even beyond the inner mind and inner physical, even deeper, then you will get the psychic being. Okay? So Sridhar is saying, if you enter into yourself, okay, the intraconscious, you will be in touch with the universal forces. Okay? So, now you read that sentence again and then you will see, you will understand. Okay. I am reading the sentence. The spiritual man is the supreme, supernormal effort of human creation. Normal man. Okay? Very intelligent, very deep, very understanding. So he can be a mental creator, thinker, sage, prophet of an ideal. Self-control, self-discipline, harmonized mental being. But nature has tried to go higher and deeper within herself and call out from the front the soul and the inner mind and heart, call down from above the forces of the spiritual mind and higher mind and overmind, and create under their light and by their influence the spiritual sage, seer, prophet. You understand? So when you go into yourself, okay, you are an introvert, you are not an extrovert. An extrovert is one who is very, very busy with the outside world, the outer world. But one who is very introvert is constantly more worried about his own emotions and his thoughts. Okay? He is an introvert. So you can go into the inner mind. And when you go into the inner mind, Sridhar is saying, inner vital, inner mind, inner physical, these things are more real to you than the outside world. Okay? They are more real to you. So that is the inner mind. If you keep the image of the house, then it becomes clear. Sima?
Thank you, Dada. Thank you.
It is still little vague.
Thank you, Dada. Thank you very much.
Okay. Now we can read the next one. This is man's only way of true self-exceeding. So, one of you has to read. Who will read? Sima, you yourself, you can read. If you have the text.
Okay. Thank you, Dada.
Okay. This is man's only way.
This is man's only way of true self-exceeding. For so long as we live in the surface being or found ourselves wholly on matter, it is impossible to go higher and vain to expect that there can be any new transition of a radical character in our evolutionary being. The vital man, the mental man have had an immense effect upon the earth life. They have carried humanity forward from the mere human animal to what it is now. But it is only within the bounds of the already established evolutionary formula of the human being that they can act, they can enlarge the human circle, but not change or transform the principle of consciousness or its characteristic operation. Any attempt to heighten inordinately the mental or exaggerate inordinately the vital man, a Nietzschean supermanhood, for example, can only colossalize the human creature. It cannot transform or divinize him. A different possibility opens if we can live within in the inner being and make it the direct ruler of life, or station ourselves on the spiritual and intuitive planes of being, and from there and by their power transmute our nature.
Not a very big para, but very interesting para. So he's saying exactly in the end of the thing, he's saying if you want to go beyond the mind, you have to go either into your intraconscious, deep within yourself, or you have to go above, to the higher floors of your own house. Okay? Now we read each sentence and see whether this is man's only way of true self-exceeding. And what is that? Either to go deep into yourself or go above the mind. If you go above the mind, you enter the spiritual planes of consciousness, and if you go into yourself, the psychic being comes forward. The psychic being is a divine flame within you. But do not think that because it is a part of the divine, it is perfect. The divine himself has plunged into the nations, into the inconscience of matter, purposely he has hidden himself. It's a game that he is playing with himself. He has gone purposely into himself and he is playing the very difficult game of coming out himself. And when he does that, he enjoys himself. I have succeeded. And he doesn't want to do that only through one man. He wants to repeat that experience through, at present, nearly 8 billion people on earth. But this will go on, this drama of individuals getting back to the origin of where he came from will go on forever. Okay? There is no limit to one's enjoyment. And the divine wants to enjoy in this way. Okay? When you are going up, you are realizing the divine in one way. When somebody else is going up, he is realizing the divine in another way. So the divine himself wants to experience every possible way of reaching himself after having fallen into the dark sea of inconscience. This is the game that is being played out. Okay? So he is saying that the only way to go into the spiritual plane of consciousness and realize something higher than the mind is to go either upwards or inwards. Okay? So long as we live in the surface being or found ourselves wholly on matter, it is impossible to go higher and vain to expect that there can be any new transition of a radical character in our evolutionary being. If you are limited to the surface being of body-mind life, a spiritual life is impossible. You can be a sadhak, but not a yogi. So you can be a sadhak. You are trying to go, but still you are in the physical world. Or found ourselves. Found means to make a foundation. Okay? Obviously it's not the past tense of find. It's a verb in itself. To found, make a foundation. To found ourselves wholly on matter, it's impossible to go higher and vain to expect that there can be any new transition of a radical character in our evolutionary being. The vital man, the mental man have had an immense effect upon the earth life. I agree that from the animal life, when the vital man has come up, nature has developed many things which are not there before. And when the mental man also has come, he has developed many things which are not there before. That's very obvious. There is a mental man who has created the computer, the car, the aeroplane, the mobile phone, cinema, whatnot. All these things were not there before, but it is a mental man who has developed all this. They have an immense effect on the earth life. They have carried humanity forward from the mere human animal to what it is now. So, a human animal is one who is not a mental person, okay? Only a vital person. But it is only within the bounds of the already established evolutionary formula of the human being that they can act. The ones who are limiting themselves only to the physical, however developed they be, okay, they cannot be spiritual, they can only be within the lower hemisphere, they can enlarge the hemisphere. They can enlarge the human circle, but not change or transform the principle of consciousness or a characteristic operation. Now, I was mentioning Nietzsche. Nietzsche was a German philosopher and he had probably the experience of the self, but in that you normally can experience Ananda or you can experience peace and calm and freedom, but he probably had a touch of power. That's why his philosophy is one that the Aryan race is destined to lord it over the others. And this idea, although it has a certain vague truth in it, led to the philosophy of the Nazi domination. They thought that the Aryan race and the Nazis, they thought that the Jews and all the blacks and all the Indians, they are all inferior beings. That was the whole philosophy of the Nazis. It came origin. Of course, the Germans denied, and they say that no, it's not like that. But there is very clearly a connection with Nietzsche's ideas. Okay? So, if you remain in the physical world, you can enlarge yourself. You can become very intelligent. You can become very powerful. But what will be the effect? It will only be a Nietzschean Superman. You will be very, very successful, and you will be lording it over others. You will make the others your slaves. Okay? That is not supermanhood. That's what Zen is pointing out. Any attempt to heighten inordinately the mental or exaggerate inordinately the vital man, a Nietzschean supermanhood, for example, can only colossalize. Okay? Your intelligence can become not very acute but colossal. Huge it can become, your intelligence. Your vital power also can become huge. Okay? It's very obvious that Hitler also, as well as Stalin, they had a tremendous vital which they misused. There is no doubt about it. Can only colossalize the human creature, it cannot transform or divinize him. Divine life is not possible if you remain fixed in the physical world. A different possibility opens if we can live within, in the inner being. So instead of constantly the senses going outwards and seeing the physical world and believing that that's a reality, if you go within yourself and make yourself busy with your emotions and your thoughts, then you are likely to get into the interconscient and realize something much more than the physical life. A different possibility opens if we can live within, in the inner being, and make it the direct ruler of life or station ourselves on the spiritual and intuitive planes. So, going into the inner being, the psychic comes forward. Make the direct ruler of life. The psychic starts governing the life. Okay? Or station ourselves on the spiritual and intuitive planes. Go above. So, I have constantly mentioned these two possibilities. One is going into yourself and one is going above yourself. In the spiritual and intuitive planes of being, and from there and by their power transmute our nature. Then the nature can change. The outer nature can change. Okay? Your vital will become pure, your mind will have very lofty thoughts, you will have ideals, and it will be possible to realize those things. That's what Swami is saying. Not by remaining attached to the body-mind life, but by going upwards or going inwards. So, how much time is there? 34. We have about 6 minutes. We can read the next paragraph. The spiritual man is a sign of this new evolution. So, anyone, Kiran can read if she wants. Does she have the text?
Yes, Ranga.
Okay, go ahead. The spiritual man is a sign.
The spiritual man is the sign of this new evolution, this new and higher endeavor of nature. But this evolution differs from the past process of the evolutionary energy in two respects. It is conducted by a conscious effort of the human mind and is not confined to a conscious progression of the surface nature, but is accompanied by an attempt to break the walls of the ignorance and extend ourselves inward into the secret principle of our present being and outward into the cosmic being, as well as upward towards a higher principle. Up till now, what nature had achieved was an enlarging of the bounds of our surface knowledge ignorance. What is attempted in the spiritual endeavor is to abolish the ignorance, to go inwards and discover the soul, and to become united in consciousness with God and with our existence. This is the final aim of the mental stage of evolutionary nature in man. It is the initial step towards a radical transmutation of the ignorance into the knowledge. The spiritual change begins by an influence of the inner being and the higher spiritual mind. An action felt and accepted on the surface, but this by itself can lead only to an illumined mental idealism or to the growth of a religious mind, a religious temperament and some devotion in the heart, pity in the conduct. It is a first approach of mind to spirit, but it cannot make a radical change. More has to be done. We have to live deeper within. We have to exceed our present consciousness and surpass our present status of nature.
Yeah. So he's saying that if you want to go beyond the mind, you have to go into yourself or about the nature. But even that is not the real thing. It may give you a religious mind and a religious temperament. We don't have the time to discuss it fully, so I'll just read the summary of what he's saying. So we get the gist of what he's saying. Next time we can go through sentence by sentence. So the summary of what we just now read. With the advent of the spiritual man, the evolution has reached an important turning point in its advancing march. It is new and differs from the past in two ways. First of all, the evolution has now become conscious. It is no longer the slow mechanical movement of a somnolent sleeping nature. It is now awake. The human mind takes up the evolution in a conscious, purposeful effort. Until now, the evolution from inconscient to matter, from matter to life, and from life to mind has been mechanical. But now it becomes conscious. Man can plan and execute his own upward march. The animal can't do that. So that's why it is very, very different type of evolution now. Secondly, the evolution is not restricted to the surface, where ignorance reigns in spite of progress. So the difference is very clearly saying that in the earlier, when vital and mental man came, there was a lot of advance, lot of advance and lot of progress, but that's not spiritual. Ignorance is still there. The scientist knows a lot about matter, but still he is ignorant. He knows nothing about himself. He knows nothing about the reality of the cosmos. He knows nothing. So ignorance has to go. That becomes possible when you enter the spiritual plane of consciousness. The scientist, the one who is doing with his mind-seeking knowledge, knows a lot about the surface. But the spiritual man knows about the truths hidden inside and above. That's what it is. The rise in consciousness tears down walls, breaks inward into inner secrecies, expands into the cosmic consciousness, rises upwards into the self. It abolishes ignorance. Science is not abolishing ignorance fully, but it is bringing more knowledge into ignorance. It's a state of knowledge ignorance. But spiritual, it abolishes ignorance and establishes knowledge of soul, universe and God. But even this is not enough, says Moses. It contacts the soul within. It reaches the self above. But this may not change outer nature. Your inner nature is changed, your consciousness is changed, but not your body-mind life. It may lead to an illumined mind. It may create a religious tendency. It may generate love for God, increase piety. The word piety, Kiran, the word piety means respectfulness for your adults and your superiors. That is piety. It's not pity. So, piety means that when you respect your parents, you respect your elders, that is piety. In our outer nature. But it does not transform totally. Much more has to be done. And what is there to mean by that? You have to go to the supermind, and when you go to the supermind, the power to change your body-mind life is there fully. That's what it means. Okay? So, this one we will redo, beginning with the spiritual man is a sign of new evolution. Okay? So, alright. Make a note, I'll make a note in my book also. The redo the spiritual man.
Thank you, Ranga.
Page
Thank you,
7.
Ranga.
Au revoir, everybody.
Thank you,
Have a nice
Ranga.
day.
Thank you, Dada.
Thank you, Ranga.
Au revoir.